Hey everyone, and welcome to our lesson 5% taxes, decimal, sales tax, and discounts. So the point of today's lesson is by the end of today's lesson, you will know how to find the decimal form of a percentage, how to convert decimals to whole numbers. You'll be able to convert decimals to fractions as well. You will know how to find the sales price of an item that is off by a certain percentage. So how much does a sweater that is 50% off now cost? And you'll be able to determine the amount an item will cost after tax. So before we get started, I want to start off with what does it mean to be a percent? Per cent literally means out of 100. So per and the cent in that moment talks about 100. And it can be written as a decimal form or as a fraction form. So for example, we can write 75 and then the percent sign, or we can write it as 0.75, or you can write it as a fraction, 75 over 100. So if you were to complete the table below, how would you do that? So in the lowest terms, when we're converting a decimal into a percentage, the first thing I'm going to ask you to do, here is to change it to over 100. So 0.88 basically just means 88 over 100, and then you can reduce this into the lowest form. So we know that if we did both of these divided by 4, right, just converting it to the lowest form by dividing both the top and the bottom by 4. 88 divided by 4 will give you 22, and then 100 divided by 4 will give you 25, and that's in the lowest terms. We know that a decimal, if it's 88, 0.88, it is 88%. You just get rid of the 0 on the decimal, and that'll give you the percent, because what you're going to do for a decimal is you're just going to multiply this by 100, so it'll be 0.88. And if you remember, when you're multiplying by 100, you're just moving the decimal over 2, so it'll turn to 88%. Cool? Alrighty. So now when we go to 1/8, how can we find the decimal version of this? What you can just do is you can simply do 1, and you can put this into your calculator. You'll be allowed to use calculators for these type of questions. You can do 1 divided by 8, and that is going to give you, I'm just going to say 1, because saying 1 over 8 is the same thing as saying 1 divided by 8. 1 divided by 8 is going to give you 0.125, right? And that'll be your decimal. If you want to find out how much that percentage, you can just take 0.125, multiply that by 100, and that'll give you 12.5%. So try doing this one on your own. You have a percentage of 65. Tell me if you can find the fraction in lowest terms and the decimal as well. So you can pause the video here, try to do it by yourself, and then we'll come back and take it up together. All right, welcome back. So if you have 65% here, I know that as a fraction it's going to be 65 over 100, because percent means 65 over 100, right, per 100. And then I'm just going to divide that. So I know that if I do 65 divided by 5, I'll get 13. And I know that I can divide 100 by 5 and I'll get 20, right? And then I'm left with 13 over 20. I can't simplify that any further, so I'm just going to leave it as is. And over here, I know that if in order to multiply to a percentage, I need to in order to go from a decimal to percentage, I need to multiply by 100. If I want to go from percentage to decimal, I just need to divide by 100. So we're just going to do 65 over 100 is going to give me 0.65. You could also have done 13 divided by 20. That would also give you 0.65. Okay. So what does of mean in mathematics? So when I'm asking you, what's 15% of 40? When you're saying of in mathematics, what you're saying is basically a portion. Portion of, a fraction of, something like that, right? So when I'm saying 15% of 40, what I'm really saying is 15 over 100 multiplied by 40 over 1, because I'm trying to find out how much is 15% of 40 over 1. What's 15% of that fraction, right? And then I can just do that math. So I can do crossing these out. If I divide 40 by 10, I'm left with 4. 100 divided by 10 is 10. So I could even go and do 20. So 40 divided by 20 is going to give me 2. Right, 10 divided by 20 is going to give me 5. So 15 times 2 is 30 over 5, which is the same thing as saying 6. Right, that's one way to do it. Or if you want, when you have a percentage, you can just multiply the decimal. So 15 multiplied by 40, 0.15 multiplied by 40 is going to give me 6. So whichever way you want to do it, it's completely up to you. So I'll say or here. They'll both give you the same answer. I personally like doing 0.15 times 40. For me, if I have a calculator, that's just easier to work with. But if you don't have a calculator, the fraction is obviously easier to work with. Okay. Oops, sorry. We're just going to change this. So the C should just be 65% of what number? Number is 78. So we're just going to get rid of this over here. Ignore that for now. Okay. So we have 45% of 1200. So the steps that I would follow for this are as follows. So I would do step 1. I would change 45% into a decimal, or you can do a fraction. For the purposes of this course, I'm going to do a decimal, right? So this becomes 0.45, right? And then I'm just going to multiply decimal by number. So if I want to find 45% of 1200, I'm going to say 0.45 multiplied by 1200, and then I'm just going to throw that into my calculator, and I should get 540. And that's my answer. Okay, so try doing B and C by yourself. This one's a little bit tricky because 130 is just going to be 130 divided by 100, so your decimal will be 1.3. So it's important for us to remember how to find, how to convert to a decimal. Okay? All right, so welcome back. We're just going to quickly take this up together. So you can do this as step 1, convert to a decimal. So we're going to do 130 over 100 equals 1.3. So for the purposes of this one, I'll just leave it as a decimal or as a fraction. So we can convert it to a fraction. Same thing, just multiply the fraction by the whole number. Multiply fraction by whole number, and you just do whatever way works for you. Right? I'm just showing you both ways. So you have 130 over 100 multiplied by 80 over 1, right? Because that's our whole number here. And then I'm just going to reduce. So let's see if I can do 100 divided by 40. Nope, sorry, 100 divided by 20 is going to be, we'll just do 20. 5. 80 divided by 20 is going to be 4. Right? 130 and 1, there's nothing really we can do about that there. So let's do 130 times 4, which is going to be 520 over 5, right? And then if you do that, 520 divided by 5, right, is going to give us 104 over 1, or just 104. So that means that 130% of 80 is going to be 104. If you did 1.3 times 80, you would also get 104. Either way, you would get the same answer. It just depends how you would like to do this. Now, 65% of what number is 78? So if you're given something like this, it's actually easier for you to just change this into a fraction. Let's change to a fraction. Right, so let's change this into a fraction. I'm just going to highlight that so it looks nicer. Right, so 65 is 65 over 100. Right? And then we want to know 65 over 100 is 0.65. but we want to know what number, 78 over what number will give us 65%, right? So then what we're going to do is we're going to use a variable for the whole number. Right? So then step 2 is going to be use the variable for the whole number. So I know that 65 over 100 is equal to some equivalent fraction of 78 over 100, right? Because I have 78 is a number here. So it's going to be 78 over 100. Now, what I'm going to do, over some number. It's equivalent to some number x, right? Because I want to know what's 65% of some number. That'll give me 65%, and I know that they'll be equivalent fractions, right? So what I can do here is I can just cross multiply. So I can do 100 times 78, 100 times 78 is equal to, I'll do some blue, 65 times x, 65x, and if I want to get the x by itself, I'm just going to divide both sides by 65, right? So I have 100 times 78 divided by 65 is going to give me 120, and that's going to give me x, which means that the whole number, right, that it's 65% of is 120. So 65% of 120 is 78, and that would be my answer that I would write here. Okay. Another way that you could do this is if you look at it as a decimal. As a decimal, you know that you have 0.65% times some random number is going to give us 78, right? If this is an easier way for you to see this, that's fine too. And you can just do 0.65x, right? Just reduce them on both sides. So I can just do 78 divided by 0.65 is going to give me 120. Whichever way makes sense to you, do it that way. I just wanted to show you both possibilities. You're going to get the same answer either way you do it. Okay? So then moving on to part B, which is sales tax and price, right? So this question is a 4-part question. You'll have something really similar to this on your test, right? So if you're given something like Jasmine saw a jacket she really wanted, but it cost $149.99 while she was out shopping. She now saw that this was on sale for 20% off. She bought the jacket. How much did she pay, including the 13% tax? Okay. So we're going to say the regular price for this was $149.99. We knew that. So let's just go in and put that in. We know that the amount of the discount is 20%, right? So it's 20% discount. We want to find out what the sale price is. The sale price is basically the price that it'll cost, the amount that it will cost when you take the 20% off. So amount it will cost after discount. Right? So after you take the 20% off, how much will it cost? So the first thing you want to do is you want to find out how much money are you taking off with the 20% discount. So let's do that in this section over here. So the 20% discount is going to be 0.20% of 149.99, right? So the amount of the discount will be, let's just do that, 0.2 times 149.99 is going to be $29.9998. So we're just going to say it's going to be $30. Just round this up. So it'll be $30. That means, therefore, we are taking off $30 off the original price. Right? So if we know we're taking off $30 off the original price, if we're going to try to find the sales price is just going to equal OG price, right? The original price, minus amount taken off, or amount of discount. So sales price is equal to, our original price was $149.99, right? Minus the $30 that we can now take off. And I'm going to be left with $149.99 minus 30 is going to give me $119.99. So that means that the price after discount is going to be, therefore, price before tax $119.99. Now it's going to ask us the tax. So there's two ways to do tax. Let me show you the correct method. Both of them are correct, but just let me show you the longer method and then I'll show you the shorter method as well. Okay, so tax is 13% of a number, right? So when we pay tax, we pay 13% on top of the cost that it already cost. So if you're trying to find 13% of $119.99, which is the cost of our jacket, right? We're going to do, okay, 0.13 multiplied by $119.99, right, equals $15.60. So therefore, we will pay $15.60 on top of the $119.99 for the jacket. Right? You always add tax after. So the total cost is equal to cost of item, which is $119 for us, cost of item plus HST plus cost of tax. Right? So then it'll be $119.99 plus 15.60, so that'll give us 135.59. Therefore, the jacket costs $135.59 after tax. Okay, and that's the answer. I'm just going to show you really quickly underneath here another way to do tax, right? So what some people do is they actually take this step here, like the calculating the tax and the total cost, and add it into one step. So what they do is they do $119.99 times 1.13, right? The 1.3 here represents tax, and the 1 here represents the cost of the item. So what you're doing is you're basically adding and multiplying in the same step, right? That's how that math works out. So if you want to do it that way, like, be my guest, and you'll get the same amount. So if you do $119.99 times 1.13, you're going to get $135.59. Either way, it is correct to do it. I will, unless I'm explicitly asking you how much tax are you paying in dollars, then you can, it's totally acceptable to do this way. Okay? Thank you.